Word. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to Daily Intimacy, Tuesday morning, June 16th. Thank you for checking in the chat box. If you haven't already, please do say hi, where you're coming in from, zooming in from, and how you're feeling this morning, scale of 1 to 10. Really just an opportunity for you to check in to see just how you are this morning and have a moment to tune in with yourself. We are going to start with a centering. And so I invite you to have a breath and a nice long exhalation. How about that? A nice deep breath in and an exhale. And we'll do that again, a nice deep breath. Yeah, just sort of clearing out from sleep. So I invite you to close your eyes and just give yourself a moment to tune in to you. Just notice where you are in time and space this morning, where you're sitting, standing, lying down, wherever you are. I invite you to bring your attention to your surroundings. But instead of tuning in to the objects, I invite you to tune into the spaciousness. It's like my guru says, we always see the plane in the sky. We hardly ever see the sky. So this is a moment to tune in to the space around you, in your immediate surroundings first, and then expanding outward to outside your home. Maybe just in your neighborhood or your town. And then continue expanding your awareness further. The state you're in, the country you're in, the continent you're on. And then expand your awareness to the globe. And perhaps you expand your awareness to the globe with neutrality. So whatever shows up for you, feeling wise or energetically, can come to a place of neutrality by naming what you're experiencing and just becoming aware of the space. And I invite you to bring your awareness back to the continent you're on. The state you're in. The town you live in your home, or the place where you are right now. And then turn that all the way in to the state of being inside. And then hands on your heart for a moment, just kind of connecting into heart space to love. And I invite you to have a deep breath. And exhale. And gently open your eyes. Great. And if you haven't checked in this morning, well, first of all, welcome to those of you here at Daily Intimacy for the first time. I see some new faces and it's really sweet. And I see new faces. You can't hear me. Anything I can do? I see faces that I know, of course, that are here at Daily Intimacy for the first or second time. So welcome. If you can't hear me, Andrew, can you post in the chat to Linda just to say that she should log out and log back in? Thanks. I have a puppy in one arm, so I'm not typing right now. Thank you. So if anybody, thank you, Donna. If anybody hasn't checked in the chat, it's a really nice thing that we do. And just to say hi, where you're zooming in from. And if you want to, a scale of 1 to 10, how you're feeling this morning. Just really gives you an opportunity to see how you're doing, and also gives me a pulse check on how everybody is. And this morning we have my friend Sacha Fossa, who I have known for many years now, I think. We met at a Tantra gathering many years ago. And Sacha has been doing incredible work in the world over many years, lots of different modalities. Last year, it was wonderful. We did a piece on essential oils and libido for the program I was running, and that was chock full of amazing information. And I have to say, like, even though Erotic Blueprints is something that obviously I've been hearing about for the last year or two, whenever kind of it, came out into the world through Jaya's work. I haven't spent any time with it myself, so I'm thrilled to have you here and thrilled to have you share more information, which I assume, that will be kind of where we're headed. And so I really look forward to a participatory experience, to you sharing with us all of your beautiful, loving energy, which is one of the things I really appreciate about you, because we share that. And thanks for taking the time to be here. And before I unmute you and we begin, I just want to just note, the people that are sharing in the chat. It's really lovely to hear and see all of you. And just my heart is with those of you that are feeling not, so great, or feeling sad, fearful, whatever it is that's going on. I just want to say everything is welcome here. It always is. And however you are is perfect and fine and welcome. And the other thing, I just checking, I see almost everyone has their video on, so that's great. Video's on, keeps the room safe, and that is wonderful. And I know some of you said that you just can't this morning, so I get it. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Sacha. If you guys want to set things up in speaker view, you're welcome to do that, obviously, or gallery view, whatever works for you. And you're unmuted.
Thank you, Robyn. Good morning, everyone. Very happy to be here. And I invite you just really to drop into a new experience of what might seem like a bit of, a lot of information. So I'm going to actually, really keep it to an introduction to the blueprints and do some experiential with that. I've been studying the blueprints for probably, I think, close to 4 years now. And you can just go deeper and deeper and deeper with them. When I say studying them, I mean, I've been training in them and going like so deep into this modality, because really the blueprints actually affect your whole life. They're your intimacy languages or your sex languages. It's how you're erotically wired, but it's also, you'll find, present, therefore, in all of your life and how you express yourself sexually, intimately, and otherwise. So I'd like to actually start with an experiential piece, I'll tell you a little bit about my story first, and then we'll go into that. And I'll keep the story more to how the blueprints have impacted me. So I am, let's see, I started out more in the holistic healing world, and then learned about Tantra about 20 years ago. And so to me, I combined my holistic healing and wellness skills with my intimacy and relationship and sex coaching and education studies. So I really consider myself an intimacy and wellness coach, and have multiple trainings in both. And then there's like a piece that I do that I call Best Sex and Love Life. That's my work with my healing arts. And then there's Jayas piece, where I'm a licensed blueprint coach. So you'll find on my website that there's different streams and pathways to choose from. And today I'm going to focus just with the blueprint work. So that was the latest and greatest training I've done, but I'm also a Source Tantra advanced certified tantric educator through Source, many other tantric studies, Planned Parenthood, sex education, so forth. You've seen my bio. So how I came to the blueprints, though, was interesting because I'd been in Tantra for so long and really focused, you know, kind of like as a Tantra goddess and teaching Tantra and sacred sexuality. And I found myself, though, in this place in my life where it was like a shadow side of things, where I was having challenges with finding the right relationship or lovers, because my path was very narrow. It was kind of like, you have to be a tantric, you know, master of some sort to be my lover. And I was all about the energy and the tantra. And I realized with learning a little bit about Jaya's work that I was only playing, let's say, in one sandbox, and that there was so much more to explore, and that there were parts of myself that I had cut off as a result. And I wanted to explore it all. And I had always been very vivacious, like really just, I wanted it all. And even as a child, it was like, you know, the labels that I would have of you're too much, right? And that just went through my life too. Like so many relationships. You are too much, Sacha. You want too much, and you're just too much, right? And it felt like life-saving and life-giving to get into the blueprint work and to discover that there's nothing wrong with too much. That too much is simply exploring more of a wider range of sexual expression and intimate expression. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that when we actually get into the blueprints. But when I say it really took me from a place of feeling contracted and depressed of not getting things I wanted and feeling fed, I was like starving, right? But I didn't even exactly know what I wanted. And the blueprints gave me the opportunity, through learning about them and discovering my own blueprinting and where I was in shadows and where I needed to be fed, that I was like this whole new expansion into new playgrounds and being me more in a whole new way. So that's, and you know, the blueprints really have an incredible power of understanding more about yourself, and therefore being able to understand your partner and how you can play, partners, how you can play and connect more. It affects so much of your life. So I'll just say that piece around the blueprints. I also am not actually looking at the chat, but I would love it if questions come up, if Robyn could let me know. I just have a lot of ADHD, so it helps me to stay more like here than in the chat too. So
I will definitely monitor the chat, and I'll put my hand up or just.
Perfect. Yeah, please. Thank you. Thank you. Good. So let's actually start then with a little practice. If you can lay down somewhere and still hear, then that's great. If not, and you're sitting, that's fine. You may feel more comfortable turning your camera away or off. It's really up to you. I'm going to lead you through a little practice where you're actually going to be doing touch on your body. I want you to only do what you feel comfortable with. There is a part of, where you could just go over genital touch with your hand if you're comfortable with that. So that's why I say if you're more comfortable turning the camera away or whatever feels better for you, please do so. Please do so. And good. So I want you to first just start by closing your eyes, if you're comfortable with that again, whatever feels right to you. Picture yourself somewhere in nature where you're just completely relaxed. You have total solitude and privacy. Maybe even laying on the earth or laying on a rock, someplace really peaceful. And just bringing your awareness to your body fully. Letting out any energy through your feet that you'd like to release, and then pulling up any energy from the earth that you would like to have contribute to you. And then just take a nice stretch if it feels good, or a yawn. And then just tune into your second chakra, your sexual energy, your genitals, and just notice where the energy is there, and if you notice it, and what level it's at, maybe on a scale of 1 to 10. And what we're doing is a somatic practice where you're really going to be noticing how your body responds to different touch. Not your mind, not what you think you like or have liked in the past. How does your body respond to these different types of touches? The first touch that we're going to do is I'd like you to just take your hands up above your head a few feet, and then to very, very, very slowly start to move them down towards your head. Very, very, very slowly. And just noticing if this is something, this hovering touch, this slow touch feels in your body. You can even look at it as a scale actually of 1 to 5, where 1 is, I don't like this. 2 is, meh, okay. 3 is, this is pleasurable. 4, this is highly pleasurable. And 5 is, this is orgasmic. And you're just hovering, connecting, noticing if you feel anything, and just coming in so slow energetically. And it's like you're just going to be touching your energy field. Right? You can, if you want to get really close and just touch the hairs gently, that's fine. But this is a very energetic touch. And you can go down the sides of your ears. And down either your arms or the front of your body, slow. You can take the energy back a bit with your hands and then come back in again. And again, just noticing, how does your body feel? Does it like this kind of touch or not? And just feel intuitively of how, it might feel to you in terms of where your hands go, what feels more pleasurable or less. But do stay with the energy. Maybe you touch so lightly that you're just touching the hairs on your arm. Good. That's the first type of touch. The second one, we're going to do 5, by the way. The second one is you're going to actually now slowly come down onto your head with a sensual touch. A touch that's like a massage, that's slow. Think sensual massage. If I was giving myself some type of sensual massage, what would that look and what would that feel like on your body? And give that to yourself. Imagine what it would feel like with some warm oil, a warm scented oil with your favorite scent. You can go right on your skin again, slow and sensual, nice sensual massage. And when you're doing that sensual touch, really imagine that what if on top of this, again, you had the oil and you had the perfect scent and you had the perfect temperature and you had the room around you in the most beautiful decorations and way of actually feeding your senses. This touches, we're all about the senses now. What would you like to smell? What kind of luscious snack, perhaps a strawberry or anything that would just essentially melt in your mouth and be enjoyable on top of this touch? Sensual. Okay. So for the next touch, again, whatever you're comfortable with, I encourage you, this is going to be a sexual touch. So you can go to your nipples directly and squeeze. You can cup over your genitals. Or just do your second chakra, but essentially any place for you that's going to feel like a sexual touch. Quite different from the two we've done before. It's direct. It's like, oh, give me this. I want this. Sexual, hot, passionate, demanding, sexual. So just notice and see what it feels like to have a very quick change from the sensual, sexual touch. Does your body like that? Does it get more aroused and more turned on, or does it shut down with a quick sexual touch? And you can, kind of just grab or just hold, but you really want to be like sexual energy. You're thinking sexual. Demanding, intense, fast even. Penetrative touch. Very different from the last two touches we did. And since sexual can often be faster, we'll move on to the next one. So the next touch, the fourth touch, is going to be something that feels taboo to you. So whatever that might be, it could, twisting a nipple, pulling your hair, scratching the body somehow, slapping in some way. Anything that's taboo to you. Choking the neck a bit, seeing if this is a touch that your body enjoys or not. So whatever feels safe and also taboo to you, pinching again, spanking, anything that's taboo for you, do just one or two touches like that, or whatever feels okay for you to explore. And notice, again, on that scale of 1 to 5, is this something that my body enjoys? Do I feel more aroused, less aroused? Somewhere in between, maybe I'm confused. There's no right or wrong here. This is just information that we're gathering from the body, right? Just information. anything that's taboo for you. Okay, and then for the last touch. This one is a little more complicated, and we wish at times to do this one that we are like a Hindu deity with many different arms, but do the best you can. You're going to mix up each of those touches in a variety of ways. So however that looks to you, so perhaps, a hair pull and at the same time a sensual touch somewhere, or some energy along with sexual touch, and just keep playing with it of different touches. Just be creative in any of the touches that you just tried. See how many of them you can put together, and does it confuse your body and your body doesn't like it, or does your body go, oh, I like that? And again, where are you on that scale? Just for another moment, try it just a little more. Okay. And then when you feel ready, you can just kind of do a little shake or whatever feels good to you to kind of come back. Line yourself fully back into the class here for when you're ready, sitting up and coming back on video. And if anybody would like to share any feedback of what they experienced from that before I kind of give you a little more information about each touch.
So the way we do
Body
that is,
sensations or reveals.
yeah, the way we do that is just put me in the chat if you want to just share what your experience was. And it would be great to hear from two people. Don't be shy. Or be shy and share anyway. We've got Emily.
Yeah.
Go ahead and unmute.
It was really interesting what happened at the last one. All the other ones, I felt my body feeling it, but then when I mixed things up, I felt my hands feeling it. Like the doing was more, was stronger than the feeling.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
And Jean in the chat says, I noticed I was feeling a bit sluggish this morning, but the slow touch around my aura woke me up. I felt a surge of energy.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So anybody else? Any questions about that? We'll jump in a little more.
Oh yes, Andy. Go ahead and unmute, Andy.
That was interesting. What I learned was I really prefer sensual touch in non-erogenous zones, but more aggressive in those. And in the last one we tried, this is the first time I realized doing both at the same time was really interesting. I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Interesting, good, interesting, or interesting, not so good, interesting?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you. So I would encourage, once you learn a little more from what I'm going to share next about the actual, the blueprints and different types of touch, continue to explore feeding yourselves. That's what we call it, right? So I like that, to use that word feeding, whether it's when I'm working with couples or individuals or any relationship styles around the love languages. I say, I encourage my clients to feed themselves and each other in the love languages. And it's the same with these blueprints, the erotic languages, right? we want to learn, especially if we are single and in quarantine at any point, right? It's a great time to learn how to feed yourself more erotically and learn some new things. So with the blueprints, that's kind of the expansion that it opens up. It heals shadow sides and it opens up new expansion for this sense of being fed, where so many of us feel starved on some level, erotically, intimately, sexually, because we haven't had the right education, we haven't found the right partner, whatever it is. But ultimately it comes down to, first you have to be your own best lover and feed yourself, right? If you're starving and unfed, you're not going to really be a great partner for anybody else. And you're not even going to know how it feels to be satiated, right? So we want to know, how do you feed yourself, and do that more every day with little practices. I like to say, micro dose pleasure in your day, as well as like macro, big events of pleasure plan each week. But like every day you can microdose some erotic blueprint touch, sitting at your computer. Find out, once you know what your like primary is, which means your easiest path to arousal, right? You could just do some touch in that one blueprint and see how that feels. So your home play will be to go and practice more touch, and you'll have more information as we go along of different types of touches to do, right? And what your blueprints are. So I will just say, so with the blueprint stuff, I'm going to ask you to take the quiz on my website. If you decide you want to take the quiz, it's free, and find out what your blueprints are after we've done the class. And I would just ask you to check out, the blueprint programs and what's available. There's a lot of information and videos on my website about the blueprints, but I would ask you to go through my website if I'm the first person that's introduced you to the blueprints, because I am an affiliate, and then that will take you to Jaya's quiz. But if you purchase anything through Jaya, right, I will get some compensation for that. So I'll just say that, and I would ask you to take the quiz if you're interested in knowing your blueprints, again, after we do the class, not during it. And that I offer a complimentary consultation. So if you want to, have a consultation by phone or video to go over more information about your particular blueprints and the services I offer and how to expand them, then we can do that. So but for now, let's dive into, so what are these blueprints, right? So essentially we have these 5 touches. And that first one, does anybody have a guess of what that first touching that we were doing might be called or be about?
Feel free to put that in the chat.
Yeah. Yes, energy. Thank you. So the first blueprint is the energetic, right? The energetic blueprint likes hovering and very light touch. They like anticipation and tease, energy play. They like eye gazing, right? They want to be connected. A high energetic may see sex as something much larger than sex, right? Sacred sexuality, tantra, these fall into energetic in a big way, of the energetic blueprint. Tease, anticipation, energy play. Energetics in their highest, they can have an orgasm from the wind, right? From energy play. So that's the positive side of an energetic. So I will just give a little on the shadow side. Again, this isn't just an introduction today, right? The shadow side is that an energetic, we don't often, where in our society, besides in like Tantra and some of the more alternative and pathways around sexuality, do we actually see anything around energy play being something that's sexual or a way to play sexually, right? So the energetic, the shadow side is an energetic gets shut down very quickly when not approached right? When someone comes in too fast and grabs their genitals, or spanks them or something, or just even comes in for a kiss too quickly, right? And energetics need spaciousness. They want things slow, and they want to have, a play dynamic with the energy and a connection going on to feel that big turn on for them, right? Their turn on goes immediately. The energy in their body just collapses. They shut down when it's too fast, too much, and not with the connection that they want, right? The shadow side is also where I was when I was in the Tantra phase of my life, where I felt I could only have a tantric lover. Everything had to be about the energy and this, it had to be a certain way. And I was very hierarchical. And that was actually the shadow side of that blueprint, not the high side. Yeah. So the way to get out of a shadow is to feed with the positive aspects of the blueprint, right? Which makes it so easy when you can look at this, whether it's you yourself or your partner, and go, oh, I'm in the shadow here. What do I need to do? Oh, I need to feed myself with this particular, positive side of the blueprint. So the energetics to be fed again, so what would they need? They need that anticipation, tease, connection, light, hovering touch. Just as an example, I remember, so I had some clients that one was an high energetic primary blueprint, and the other was high sexual, right? And so one was saying that, the other one was always grabbing them and coming at them really fast to have sex, right? The sexual blueprint. And the energetic just would freak out, right? And their whole being would shut down. And so I had the energetic laying on my massage table, and had our partner, right, come in and learn how to do energetic touch, right? Which this person had never had any idea about. So they were hovering over her body about 3 feet, right? With their hands just like this. And she went into full-blown orgasm, right? Just with the energy. And then when he came in really fast to her body, then she completely shut down, right? So just as there's an example. It doesn't have to be that extreme, but you get the sense of what that's like. Any questions about the energetic before I tell you about the next touch? Share with you more on the next touch.
There's a question about energetic sex, which we might want to wait till the end. When one is engaged in energetic sex, can one still be engaged in all types? Oh, I see. Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
I would agree.
Yeah. And that's playing in all the playgrounds instead of just one, right? So actually, we'll get to that, but you want to be able to expand and play in all the playgrounds. If you want more erotic expansion in your life. If you don't, it's fine if you want to stay in one playground too, right? Good. Oh, one other piece. Energetics like breath work, right? And they may tend to be the type of people that are more woo-woo, right? Like energy. They like that kind of stuff, right? We like that. Energetic crystals, right? Crystals are sex toys for energetics, right? There's also a whole difference of like what toys might be for each blueprint. So next touch though, sensual, right? Massage, the senses. The sensual blueprint is aroused primarily through the multi-senses, from eating, from delicious scents, from just the right temperature and touch. They have an aesthetic for beauty, right? They create amazing sensual space. And so orgasms come from the senses, right? From the senses. And so they can have like multiple we can all have multiple orgasms through all of these blueprints, but essentially, again, it's multi-sensory. So a sensual, the shadow side would be if the person, again, they like slow and sensual. So if it comes in too quick, right? Someone's just like, if the partner or even on themselves, it's going to shut them down. And they also have a hard time getting out of their heads. They need a certain thing called a toggle oftentimes, which is like how to get from like your regular life and in your head into intimate life. So sensual would do well with like, if a partner knows that their partner has high sensual, or even if you do for yourself, okay, I'm going to take a shower or a nice long bath, or we're going to start with massage, right? A lot of foreplay. Sensuals need ways to shift and get into their body more, and to get out of their head. And so they're not worrying or projecting things, which can be a sensual shadow trait. And they really need an environment that's set up well, right? That is clean, no laundry on the floor. They, make sure your breath smells good. All of that's sensual. So that's what they need to feed them, right? These important toggles and ways to feed the sensual. So any questions on sensual? I'm going through them a little fast because I noticed the time and I want to make sure we obviously cover the blueprints and get questions in.
Let's cover them and then we'll see if there's questions. How about that?
Yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The sexual blueprint. Oh, and so sensual is often portrayed as how the feminine or female bodies are supposed to be. Romance, flowers, sensory, foreplay, right? But it's not necessarily true. The research is that all of the blueprints are actually evenly distributed across all genders. So we don't have to fall into any particular category, right? Now, the sexual blueprint is kind of what the cultural norm is, and often men are specifically pigeonholed into male bodies, cock bodies, to be the sexual blueprint, right? So sexual, love, sex, orgasms, getting me off right now, 0 to 60 turn on, like instantaneously, right? They're just raring to go. They're the most simple in the blueprints, and that they're just like, let's do it now, let's fuck, basically, right? They like naked bodies, sexual visuals, so porn is great to feed a sexual. Shadow side, right? You're missing the journey, right? Do me now, let's get it on, is like, where is the journey in any of this? You're missing the journey. They often can get very frustrated if they don't come, like, where's my orgasm? And will, project that onto a partner. They like sexual frequency. So if they're not getting off and getting enough sex, they're starving, right? They're in the real shadow side. So yeah, they need visual stimulation, orgasms, assurance of sexual frequency, and nudity. There's the sexual. Kinky, the kinky blueprint. I love that, the blueprints are equal. And so this playground is one that's typically been, kind of in the backside of like, not really part of sexuality in the way that it's starting to now be a little more normalized, but it's still got a lot of ways to go. So kinkies they have a huge sexual vocabulary. They get into altered states, right? And kinky is really whatever is taboo for you. So a lot of people that come to me, clients, will think they don't have any kinky, but we'll discover that they do. It's just that it's particular to them. And there's two types. There's the psychological kink, so you can think like really mind-fucking kind of stuff, right? Or sensation play, spanking and teasing and rope tie and all of that. So again, just an introduction to it, but a kinky, they need to, the shadow side is there could be a lot of shame, a particular fetish that one could be kind of stuck in. And that without a proper education in kink, one could hurt themselves. You have to, take a ropes course and know how to get someone out of those ropes safely, and how to have consent and other conversations, and do a lot of other things for the kinky to be safe and in the right play for you. So that's the kinky. The shapeshifter is the last one, where we try to do all the different touches at once. And the shapeshifter is the most erotically intelligent. They have an ability to play in all of the playgrounds, and they want to play in all the playgrounds. So they are like really, more expansive lovers, sexually sophisticated. They're fluent in each of the blueprints again. And the shadow side, of course, is that they get bored easily. They really need variety. They will shape shift to meet their partner's needs and be in their blueprints. And then they're actually starving, not getting fed in their other blueprints. And generally, people tend to judge shapeshifters as unsatiable. But the unsatiability is actually part of just their erotic wiring to always want more. It's never that there's just never enough. And that's okay with the shapeshifter. So they like to combine all the different blueprints in different ways to achieve high states of arousal. And that's essentially, what most of my clients will come to me is eventually with the blueprint work, we actually will help them to shift into shapeshifters so that they have all this new expansion in play. So let's get questions.
Great. Thank you, Sacha. That was awesome. Yeah, so let's hear some questions. You can put me in the chat if you want to share an experience and or ask a question. It's a great overview. I'll just say I found it interesting, like some of the touch modalities, like I felt them, but they weren't arousing,
Yeah.
Necessarily. So it wasn't necessarily erotic until we sort of mixed and matched. Then maybe one of them was more erotic than the other. I don't know. I'm still sort of sitting with it, but we've got Andy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Go ahead, Andy, and unmute.
All right. I'm wondering where it would fit if you were, I'll use the word altruistic because I can't think of another word, where your turn on is when your partner is turned on and your partner is experiencing that pleasure, and not necessarily being submissive, but that just happens to be your focus and your turn on. Does that make sense, the question?
Yeah, let me tease it out. So getting turned on and aroused from your partner having pleasure, right?
Yeah.
That would be any blueprint, and especially, part of that would be any blueprint, right? Healthy sexuality is we want our partner turned on too, right? And aroused. If you're playing with dominant and submissive, then you're in the kinky blueprint.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Robyn, we can't. There we go. Couldn't hear you.
Oh, it ties in with Jean's question. Can you see it, or do you want me to read it to you?
Yeah, could you read it to me?
Sure. I realized I'm a mixture between sexual and kinky. How does one balance a kink so that it does not control the experience, if that makes sense?
Let's see. So it's up to you, right? It's your choice. Do I want to play with my kinky at the top of my blueprint stack and then sexual, as the other way I'm playing where kinky is the dominant, or do I want to flip it and make my sexual the top and my kinky less, dominant? So it's always your choice. And what's great about the blueprints is once you have the fluidity of understanding them and yours and your partners, you can have your play dates can be, hey, let's play with this stack, right? Let's create our sexual play today with, let's start with energetic and then let's do some sensual and then move into the sexual, right? Or just, I want to have an energetic sex date. Let's just do all energy play, all tantric lovemaking, tantric lovemaking moves into sensual, but, doing different explorations within these blueprints. Yeah.
I like that. So you can be at choice and you can be really clear about what it is, like in your words and my words too, what feeds you. Yeah. Also what feeds your partner, and kind of, and I work with a lot of couples too, as you know, and so there's often like a miss, right?
Yeah.
And so usually we're giving what our orientation is and what we like to a partner or with a partner who doesn't have that same vocabulary. And
Exactly.
they're like, or, or they're turned off, or that's not so great, or like you said, they back up because the energy is coming too strongly towards them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Translation issue more often than incompatibility, right?
Right. Yeah. Or incompatibility. I can imagine. I've seen both, I guess, but yes. We got a comment from Andrew. I like Andy's question. It made me wonder if there was another type, however. Instead of a reaction to direct senses, for example, it's a reaction to what is seen or felt from the other.
I would say that would fall into the energetic, right? If you're seeing and feeling into other and that's affecting you, whether it's turning you on or shutting you down, that would be energetic blueprint. Energy, connection. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Dorothy has a comment just that she thought she was more of a sensual, but realized she may be more of a shapeshifter. Sasha, is it always that actually the four are you're one of the primary four, and then the shapeshifter is like somebody who's comfortable playing with all of them, or are there natural shapeshifters?
So great question. They're actually, what's great about the quiz is, so I will encourage you to follow, again, the link that you get, and then to see on my website, it says, take a screenshot before you leave Jaya's quiz. If you leave Jaya's quiz and you have not found your percentages, then you're only going to get what your primary blueprint is. And especially if you want to work with me or have a consultation and know more, you want your percentages of the blueprints, right? Because it'll be all 5, including shapeshifter. And if somebody has, one blueprint that's in a pretty, like 40%, but then like shapeshifter is also like 40 or 50%, they're actually more of a shapeshifter. Or if all the blueprints are pretty much same percentages, right? So we look at it in a different way to determine that. And with what was the last part of the question you said again?
Well, I think are there people that are natural shapeshifters, or are they really one of the 4 and then they sort of learn to do the shapeshifting?
Yeah. Jaya's hypothesis, which I tend to feel lighter about and resonate with, is that we actually are born shapeshifters. Right? If you see a little kids running around before they've been, indoctrinated into this realm, right? They are totally energetic, see spirits, totally connected to everything, right? Talk to animals, talk to spirits, everything else. Sensual, they love the food, put it on their face, on their hair, right? Bats, everything, sensual. They're sexual, they'll touch themselves, go right for their genitals, like pleasure, right? They're kinky, they'll spank themselves, pull their hair, whatever, right? They're kinky. So so I think we're born shapeshifters, as Jaya hypothesizes, and then we are we are imprinted by our culture and our parents, of course, and so forth in our environment into specific playgrounds being proper and okay, and you can be in these, right? And you shouldn't be in others, and all of that. So yeah, I think naturally, if we go back to our childlike innocence and who we really are as infinite beings and bodies, I think we're shapeshifters. We all are shapeshifters.
Yeah, that really makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is completely amazing. Katie has a question. I'll just answer that, Katie. So I just put in, I'll be sending this out, but I also just put in the chat where to find the questionnaire. And you'll see as you go through it, Katie and all, that there's a place where you need to take a screenshot. And so you'll do that when you get to that place. And I'll be sending the information out, of course, the recording, but also how to reach Sacha, how to take the Erotic Blueprints quiz, and all of that. And obviously, if you have questions, I am sure Sacha is available to answer them. And it sounds like a free consultation to go over not only what you offer, but also to kind of get a deeper understanding of our types.
Yes.
So thank you for offering that. And thank you so much for being here. What a pleasure.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. I'm really happy to, I'm still trying to figure out which is my predominant, although I liked the mix, the kind of mix pieces. I like that the best.
Yeah.
You
And they're fluid. They change over time, you know, just as we do. So,
Oh,
yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
That's interesting. That's like a whole other hour topic as to why and how they would change.
It is, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. Yeah, so thank you everybody, and thank you, Sacha, really for taking the time and being here and presenting all that so clearly. It's really, really helpful. Really interesting stuff. And yeah, just any comments in the chat, I'm scrolling through them. And so next week, so again, you'll get the recording, you'll get contact info for Sacha. Next week, not, I screwed that up last time, but next week we have Jessica Mortel and Okumbwa. Some of you know him from Arlington. They're going to come together actually and talk about consent. And they're really been doing a lot of activist work and work on racism. And I think it's going to be a really, really, again, wonderful, extraordinary time. So I welcome you back next Tuesday. And otherwise, I just hope everybody has a really blessed day and with microdoses of pleasure. And hop on that website. I know I'm going to right away. Take the questionnaire. And yeah, I think it's great. And obviously, it's great information for how we are loving and giving to ourselves. And when we're in partnership, if we're in partnership now or in the future, to obviously be able to use that information in a really positive way. And I love the shadow part. I want to say that too, like seeing what the other side is and then how you can bring that more into the light. It's really helpful. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
See you. I'm going to unmute everyone. You can just shout out a word if you'd like to. And see you next time.